morning, my dear students. Today we are going to deal with Unit 14, Lesson 2, Grammar. It's about using modal verbs of necessity, prohibition, and the lack of necessity. Today we are going to deal with this point. First of all, how to express necessity. We use have to or has to plus infinitive when you don't have a choice whether to do something or not. So using have to or has to plus verb infinitive means that you have no choice to do this thing. For example, you have to show your passport when you leave the country. You have to show your passport when you leave the country. It means that you have no choice to do this. It's a very strong way to express necessity. Of course, we use have to with the pronouns I, you, we, and they. I say you have to show your passport. We have to show our passports. Or they have to show their passports. I have to do all my work, for example. Okay? So have to used with we, I, they, and you. Has to has to used with he, she, or it. Okay, for example, I say he has to do all his work, or she has to do all her work, or she will be punished, for example. It means that this is a strong necessity to do this. She has or he has no choice to do this thing. Okay? Now we come to using must plus infinitive. We use must plus infinitive to express strong feelings or wishes, strong advice, warm invitations, and to say that something is important. For example, I say I must study hard before my exam. In this sentence, here is a strong feeling. It expresses here a strong feeling. We use here must plus verb infinitive. Okay, we use must plus verb infinitive. It means there is a strong feeling to do this thing. I must study hard before my exam. The next sentence, you must stop smoking. Here is a strong advice. You here give a strong advice. You must stop smoking. Means that it's a very necessary thing to be done. Okay? Or when I say you must eat healthy food. Here is another strong or another way to express a strong advice. Okay? Now for this sentence, they must. Here notice we use they must come and have lunch with us. Here is a warm invitation. They must come and have lunch with us. Here a strong invitation. Or when you meet someone and they say you must come to visit me. You must come to my birthday party. Okay? Here is a strong invitation. We must buy a present for Alice's birthday. Here is another, it means that something is very important. We must buy a present for Alice's birthday means that it's a very important thing. So we use must plus verb infinitive to express the importance of something. Okay? Now we want to say that the past form of have or has to and the must is had to plus infinitive. As you see here, the most. Okay? We use here had to plus infinitive to show that this is the past form of have or has to and must. For example, you can see here we had to do a test at school today. we had to do a test at school today. It's here had to plus verb infinitive is the past form of has to or have to. Or when I say she had to finish her work yesterday. Here we express about something which is necessary but in the past. Okay? We use mustn't plus infinitive to express prohibition. You mustn't bark here. It is not allowed. So when I say you mustn't do something, it means that you aren't allowed to do it. You mustn't bark here. It is not allowed. Okay? Or when we say you mustn't walk on the grass. Okay? Here we notice that we use mustn't plus verb infinitive to express that something not allowed, to express prohibition. And we see it on the signs in streets. You can see a sign which is written on it, you mustn't park here, or you mustn't smoke in hospitals, or you mustn't walk on the grass in the park or in the garden, etc. Okay? The negative form of have to is don't have to. The negative form of have to is don't have to. The negative form of has to is doesn't have to. Doesn't have to. We use don't have to and doesn't have to or needn't plus verb infinitive. To express what? To express lack of necessity. Express lack of necessity. The past form of have, has, to, and must is had to plus infinitive. For example, we had to do a test at school today. We had to do a test at school today, or we had to do a lot of work yesterday. Use mustn't plus infinitive to express prohibition. You mustn't bark here. It's not allowed. We usually see must and mustn't on signs on streets. For example, you mustn't bark here. You mustn't smoking in hospitals. You mustn't walk on the grass, etc. So it means that something is not allowed. It expresses prohibition. Okay? So we use must plus verb infinitive or mustn't plus verb infinitive to express prohibition. Okay? If I want to express lack of necessity, how can I express this? We use don't or doesn't, have to or needn't plus infinitive to express lack of necessity. For example, she isn't late for school, so she doesn't have to or she needn't hurry. So it means that there is no need to do this thing. She isn't late for school, so she doesn't have to hurry or she needn't hurry. As you notice here, needn't used as a modal verb. It is not followed by to, and it is followed by the verb infinitive directly. The past form is didn't have to plus infinitive. If I want to turn had to into negative, we use didn't have to. Or needn't have plus past participle, but these meanings are different. For example, when I say I didn't have to buy more bread, we already have a lot. It means that I didn't buy bread because we have some. I didn't do the action because we have some bread or a lot of bread. Here, I needn't have bought more bread means that I have bought it. I bought it already, and in fact, we didn't need it. I needn't have bought more bread means that we already have a lot. So I bought bread, but it wasn't necessary because we have some. So in this, when we use needn't plus have plus past participle, as you notice here, we use here needn't plus have plus past participle. It means that we already have a lot, but I bought more. I did the action, but in fact we didn't need it. Okay, it is not necessary because we have some. Okay.